Welcome to today's masterclass. Today we are talking about those life skills that we can teach our kids, those practical chores that we should involve our kids into. We are so used to doing everything for our babies. They are toddlers now, and it is time for them to create some independence. And this is how we're going to do it. So practical skills, it's a label made by Montessori, which means those everyday activities that we involve our kids with. So things like drinking and eating and putting on jackets and putting on shoes and taking care of the self. So those are all practical skills. Those practical life skills that they are going to need to be able to be independent beings out into the world. We are going to take the idea of that Montessori method, but we are going to incorporate it a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I did it myself and how Montessori does it. And based on that, either idea that you like best, you can go ahead and run with it. Maria Montessori created this method as a way to bring the home into the classroom. So this method was created when the moms were starting to work and they needed to put the kids into a daycare, but they still wanted to have that inspiration of the home and what all those life skills that they were learning. So she was recreating the home into the preschool and daycare environment. They had mini functional kitchens and mini bathrooms that it would recreate the home into the classroom. If you see a little bit about Montessori right now, you see a little bit of that legacy still influencing a lot of the homes. You still see a lot of those play kitchens that are turned into functional kitchens. You see those mini bathrooms recreated to the standards and to the height of a little child. When I started investigating into all the different learnings that we could teach our kids, I tried to recreate the little Montessori kitchen and the little Montessori bathroom, and I realized, wait, if Maria Montessori was recreating the home into a classroom by creating these little kitchens and little bathrooms, why am I doing that in my own home? I have a kitchen, I have a bathroom. So I switched from recreating this little world for them and try to instead involve my child into the real world. So what I did is I gave them the tools to be able to function and use what we had. So let's get started. We're going to be talking about a few different things that we're going to involve our kids in our daily routines, in our chores, so that we can create independent beings and self-sufficient beings that take care of their bodies, they take care of themselves, help around the house, understand how we use things and take care of our things. I'm going to share with you how I use these practical skills at dinner time, at bath time, getting ready, getting dressed, and chore integration, the chores that I do every day to take care of my home that he is observing me doing, and I want him to become a person, a kid, a grown-up, a future husband that helps around the house. You probably, some of these things you're doing it naturally, and some of them you are hesitant to start doing. So I'm just going to talk about it so that you know confidently what you can't do at this time with your child. So let's talk about the different chores that your child can be involved with at this time. We are so used to doing everything for them that it is time to give some responsibility. One of the key things is that our kids want to be part of our world. They want to help. Remember, play is the work of a child, and for them, helping us in the house with the different activities that we do is actually play for them. They enjoy it. That's why they sell pretend kitchens, because they want to pretend that they are cooking. That's why they want to be involved with what we do. So let's take advantage of that and let's actually go ahead and involve them. When it comes to activities around the house, one of the key things that I love to do is that there's so much learning happening through sensory play. They are touching water and they are cutting elements in the kitchen and they are swiping tables and moving things around, and that engages all of their senses, the sense of smell, the sense of touch, sometimes even if they're helping cook, the sense of taste. so forth and so on. So engaging them in these chores activities is actually a game, a sensory play. So you do not always have to involve doing sensory bins in order to teach them learnings. You can actually just involve them in the day-to-day activities that you have at home. So I'm going to tell you the 3 ones that I absolutely love the best. One, and I'm referencing my chore list. I have a chore guide that talks about all the different chores that you can involve your child in, depending by age, from 1-year-old all the way up to 18 years old. So my 3 favorite ones are cleaning the dishes. So this is because water play engages the tactical sense. You just open the sink and it's like playtime. And you both can be engaged in that. Laundry, folding the laundry, matching the socks, and placing things in and out of the dryer is an easy activity for the kids to engage while developing some important sensory skills. So when it comes to matching socks, that's actually a critical skill that your child needs to work on before learning letters and be able to distinguish between the letter E and the letter F, right? They need to know what is similar before they can start figuring out what is different. And everyday food prep. We know that we have to cook 3 times a day, and there's a lot of food prep happening. And there's a lot of things that your child can help you with, no matter the age, when it comes to food prep, like, washing the fruits and vegetables. Maybe a 3-year-old, you have a toddler safe knife, and they can help you cut the strawberries for a snack. And when you involve them in the kitchen, they also are more involved into wanting to eat different foods because they are part of it. So that's like a little tip trick. So we talked about 4 things that we're going to involve our kids in: dinner time, bath time, getting dressed, and chore integration. So when it comes to dinner time, we talked about using forks and knives and utensils. Another thing is to actually pick up the plate, put it back in the sink, or giving it to you when they're done. And as they grow up, they'll be able to even wash the dish, dry it, and put it away. So kids that are involved from the beginning in the house chores are going to be kids that are going to grow up to be responsible adults. When it comes to bath time, things that they can start working on is you can help them with a loofah and put a little bit of soap. And as you work on language development and identifying body parts, you can have your child put soap on themselves. Maybe not shampoo at this time because that takes a lot of coordination, but you can have soap. So they can say, oh, can you put it, on your elbow and on your arm and on your neck and on your belly and your belly button. And then you can complete the chore. Things like brushing their hair, that's also a fine motor coordination that they can help with when they're done with their bath time, as well as putting their dirty laundry in the dirty hamper. They love to throw things in and out of boxes. So why don't we make it a chore and a responsibility for them to actually grab their dirty outfit and put it back. Also, if you have a dressing room where they can easily access their pajamas, a box that's labeled. That's what I have. I have a box that is labeled with pajama. It has a picture of the pajama. And I know that right before we're going into the shower at night, his chore is to go and pick which pajama he wants to wear. So those are little responsibilities that we sometimes are so used to doing everything for them that we don't realize they are capable of doing it. Taking the towel from the room, maybe where you got dressed, back to the bathroom. Maybe you install a hook that is lower to the ground so that they can hook it. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about the Montessori method, is that they really try to view all of the chores and the responsibilities from the child point of view. That means if it needs to be easily accessible to them without them having to ask for help. That's why they have the little sinks and the little bathrooms, so they can go and wash their hands by themselves without having an adult lift them up into the adult sink and have them help them wash their hands. So when it comes to doing these activities, always try to see, can my child do it independently? And if he cannot, what can I do to make it easier? Maybe you have a drawer with only 2 pajamas available instead of all 8 of them, so that they only have 2 little options instead of trying, maybe you are concerned that they're going to grab all the pajamas and just throw them out, and it's going to make more work for you. So always minimize, okay, how can I give them independence and responsibility without having to make extra work for me? So have these chores work for you. When it comes to getting dressed, like we said, choosing the outfit is a very easy one that you can start working on, and you can actually play with learning colors and patterns and things like that when it comes to getting dressed. So is their outfit accessible to them? Like I said, they don't have to have access to everything if you don't want to, but they have to have access to some. So I have a rack that it's designed for costumes in like play areas. And that's the one I have for his shorts and his t-shirts. And so there, it's easy accessible for him to choose which is the shirt that he wants to wear. And to be honest, I don't really care what he wants to wear, but it's going to give him that independence and that sense of choice. Toddlers thrive on making their own decisions or having that independence. And we constantly manipulate, like, when they eat, when they go to play, what they can do, what they cannot, that they kind of like are always struggling to have that decision making. And some of the struggles and tantrums that happening is that because they don't have that independence to make different choices. So when it comes to dinner, do you want apples or do you want bananas today? Always you have the responsibility of what they want to eat, right? So you just make 2 choices that for you, whatever choice they make, it's fine with you. Do you want the red shirt or the blue shirt? Do you really care? So if you say no, today needs to be red shirt, so then grab 2 different red shirts, the red shirt with the, I don't know, strawberry, or the red shirt with the Hot Wheels. So that always like control the environment if you need to, but give them the choice so that they feel empowered, that they can make their own choices. And that's going to reduce so many tantrums at home as well. When it comes to getting dressed, also try to find shoes that are easily, that they can easily put. So avoid things with like shoelaces that they have to tie at this age. It's very hard for them to tie a shoelace, but maybe they can wear a shoe that they can put a Velcro on. Maybe you have a basket near the door, so it's always like right before you're going out the door, you have 2 different shoes that they can wear. It's like the red shoes or the blue shoes. You don't really care which type of shoes, but they get the choice to kind of pick what they want. When it comes to chore integration, that's when I think the checklist is going to give you a little bit of guidance. So I will walk you through a little bit of what I have. The toddler chore guide, it's divided by ages. So we have 2 and 3-year-old, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 10 to 13, 6 to 9, 10 to 13, and 14 and plus. And the more that you engage them in these chores, like I said, the more used to they're going to be helping around the house. They're going to be able to feel they're part of the family. And that's something very important because it just centers them in who they are and their role in this world, in this house, in this family. So if you have a 2 and a 3-year-old, that's the one we're going to be working on today. Putting the toys away. But the way that this works is if you have a label for boxes. At this age, they might not be able to read, usually 2 and 3-year-olds. So you're going to label the boxes maybe with a name so that you can start giving them some print information, like there's letters that associates with something, but also add a picture so that they know that the cars go in this box, so that they can independently know where things go. Think of it like this. If you have someone that has never been to your house, maybe one of your friends, and you guys are playing in the playroom with their friends together, and you say, hey, it's time for cleanup, we gotta go. Can your friend, your mom friend, put all the things that need to go where they need to go without asking you, where do you put this and where do you put that? Or trying to make their own decisions or which basket to put things. So try to put the labels into everything. You can have boxes with, I have for my playroom, I have boxes that on the outside, they're dry erase markers, so that depending on what the toys that I'm shifting, I can quickly change that name and I can draw a little bit of what we do. One of the things that you can do together with your child is to create those drawings so that he knows that your car that you drew is actually the car and the car goes there. So always try to do these activities together so that later on it doesn't feel like, hey, that's your job and not my job, and it's our playroom. The playroom in the house needs to be your playroom and they are invited to play. So it's like a community area. Fill up the cat or dog's food bowl. This is something that my son has done since forever. What I do is I give him the right amount of food in a little cup, and then he can scoop it in and he can put it in the dog bowl. So if you think about it, it's kind of like a sensory bin. If you give them a box of Cheerios with a little cup and they're pouring from one side to the other, they can do that. They can play with that. Instead, when it comes to a chore, we're just going to do it once. We're going to take it from the pot of where the dog food is and put it into where they eat. And that's about it. Another one that I do, it's not on the list, but we do, is we have a fish tank that was like our very first pet that we had together, and he can feed the fish. So I had to teach him that it's only like a little pinch that he can feed the fish, and then they can go ahead and eat. That's something that they can do. Place clothing in the hamper. We talked about that. Clean a table or window using a rag. So when it comes to involving them into cleaning the house, yes, you can definitely do it. But one piece of advice is that use chemical-free items. So I love to clean with vinegar, baking soda, and alcohol. Those are like very standard, non-toxic cleaners, and those are safe for your kids. So alcohol is great for cleaning windows. It takes all the dirt away and it doesn't have like the streak. So you can have a little bottle with like a spray bottle, and you can give them so that they can put alcohol, and you can give them a rug and they can work on this hand motion. If they work on it on a vertical surface, you're actually strengthening the whole arm and some of the back muscles, which is going to help them later on for writing. You can do the same when it comes to cleaning the table. They can do the circle motion. The circle motion are motions that the body needs to later on create great writers. So 2-in-1, they get to help you clean and they're working their muscles so that later on they can write. Dust using a sock in their hand. That's like a super fun activity that you can do. All you have to do is just put a sock on them. You can pretend that they're puppets. And all they have to do is just go like this on your wood tables to kind of just get all the dirt away, and it becomes very, very fun. If you don't want to use a sock, you can always buy those Swiffer dusters, and they also love to use those. They can stack books and magazines on shelves and tables. We absolutely love to read. So by the end of the day, all of our books are down from our bookshelf. Our bookshelf for him is it's close to the ground. So he's able to help me collect them, stack them up. We count them. Sometimes we sort them by size. Sometimes we sort them by color. So when you're doing this activity together, you're actually involving some math as well. Sorting and patterns. It's a skill that is needed for math. So the foundation of math, when it comes to stacking, even if you're like lifting it, that's like science. So all these little activities also have a learning element that is so important for their development. So never be afraid to ask your toddler for help. Loading the dryer. This one, I like it so much. My dryer is actually low to the ground. So more than loading it, he actually absolutely was like taking things out of the dryer and putting it into the basket. So every time he would hear the dryer music go on, like that it was time, I always let it sit for a few minutes so that it would cool down, and then together we would go and we would just take it out. We want to make it extra fun. Things that I did that I've done is I had put my child into the basket, into the dirty laundry, and drag it from my room all the way to the laundry room. And then it would be like, you know, his little adventure. It was like a little cart. I would just drag it onto the floor with him. Sometimes we did it with the clean laundry, but mostly we did it with the dirty laundry. So always try to add a little bit of fun, a little bit of playfulness. You don't have to be serious all the time. This is the time to just enjoy it, to make it fun. Like, what would you like? Silly things that, you know, your parents would never do, and you're like, I want to do it, and it doesn't create any harm, it doesn't break anything. So don't be afraid to be silly and to have some playful adventures. One of the things that if you do it in a repetitive way, it becomes a little connecting moment for you and your child, and those create those little bonding things that you and him or her can cherish throughout the years. So never be afraid to be a playful parent. Mop small areas with a Swiffer. I had actually had issues with this because I needed to mop the floor, and instead, all he wanted to do was for him to do it. And obviously, a child's not going to do it the same. So I actually had to get 2 Swiffers. And one of the good things about Swiffer, the Swiffer mop, is that it comes apart. And if you take the middle piece and you stick it together, it becomes like a little toddler Swiffer. So I would give him the toddler, the dusting one, and he would just go around, or sometimes we would do the mopping together. So things that you can do together and also make it fun. We have water the plants. This is a very easy one. So if you don't feel comfortable them overfeeding or overwatering your plants, you can give them a spray bottle. They have regular spray bottles that you use for cleaning, or they actually have little mists that you can get at the gardening section, and it mists and cleans the leaves. So that's one that, while I was doing the actual watering of the plants, he would do the mist of our indoor plants. And when we were outside, he had the hose, or we had the little gardening pitcher where he would just do it ourselves. One of the things that I enjoyed very much, and to this day we still do, is that we have a garden together. So we go to our gardening section, we buy 3 or 4 plants, and we try to take care of them until they die. Some of the plants are very resistant, and they will just, you know, tolerate a lot of things. But if you don't have a green thumb, it's really not about the plant. It's more about the activity that you do together. And for many years, that's the way I saw it. It was just, we would buy plants, we would water them, we would put them out in the sun, and we would hope for the best. Now that we're getting a little bit better, we do have a butterfly garden. It's my garden, and I just involved him. So even if you don't have a green thumb, just get a little flower that you can put some water in it. And like I said, when it comes with the kitchen, it's just washing the fruits and the vegetables. And if you have those toddler safe knives, they are plastic, they cut wonderful. I use them myself, but they are safe for the kids, they won't get cut. So these are the few things that you can involve your child in when it comes to chores. Don't think of it like child labor, or, you know, they're not supposed to because they're so little. Think about it that there's always a sensory integration and a learning opportunity there, as well as deep down inside, they are trying to figure out who they are, how they can fit in this world, and how they can be helpful. So they actually want to help. So give them the opportunity to do so. All right. So I hope this got you inspired. Let me know what kind of chores and activities you guys do together. And remember, do not be afraid to be a playful parent. Always add a little something. Maybe it's a song, maybe it's a dance, maybe it's something silly. Have fun, and I'll see you on the next video.